Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Treya Tarot. This is a collective reading for Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. I haven't been around for the past week. That should end soon. I'll be inconsistent for a little while longer posting, and then hopefully I will be able to get back onto a regular schedule in April. But I'm here with my coffee, and I woke up this morning to a video by Nightlight Astrology, Adam Ellenboss, who I watch regularly because of the very grounded, emotionally resonant type of astrology that he does. He brought up a theme in the video from this morning about simplicity and individuation, and it rang with me. Essentially, he explained that individuation includes a type of simplicity that relies on not being conflicted internally. Not simplicity as in not complex, but simple as in without conflict. And it just kind of stuck and rang in my head for a while, so I figured I would try and get on today and, pull some cards. So anyway, if you like these readings, please like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell if you want to be notified. I'm using the Luna edition of the Ethereal Visions today. Back to my beginnings. I think this was the first deck I used on the channel. Okay, look at that. All right. There's some serious beauty in these three starting cards for me anyway, considering the tumultuous experience many people have been having over the past couple of weeks, the change and the shifting and the upheaval that I've been hearing about, feeling, experiencing, all the same. Many of us are in it, whatever it may be. Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment, but it's also about contentment. It isn't, however, contentment completed. The Nine of Cups is the action, so to speak, or the reception, rather, because it is water, it's the reception of the wish before the foundation is complete. So something's flowing in, and it could be something simple as that simplicity that he was talking about in the astrology video this morning. The idea that contentment doesn't have to be perfection. And that's what the Nine of Cups always kind of brings up in any reading for me. It's contentment, but its incompleteness means contentment without perfection. The beauty of it, though, is that when it does ring as wish fulfillment, it's usually something that's very, well received. It's something we really do enjoy and want, Two of Wands, courage. The thing about the Two of Wands for me is that always sticks out is the hesitancy, or the if it's not hesitancy or reticence, it can be a decision that inspires some kind of, I would say, a twinge of fear, because it's not so much scary, it's just it's apprehension. That's the word I'm looking for. The Two of Wands always, for me, brings up this sort of need to make a decision, even though you're feeling apprehension. And then judgment, release, freedom, peace, letting something go, letting something rest. The thing about judgment, when I see it, I usually tend to feel good about it, which is a bias. I guess it's a cognitive bias of mine because of the way in which it's shown up for me in my readings. But other people I've seen recently see judgment as this sort of line in the sand. I've heard it described recently as, revolving around being judged, which is not necessarily the interpretation that I get from it. It's usually this sort of judgment that relies on a before and an after, but not the kind where personal attacks are involved. For me, the judgment card is about being assessed by some sort of, like divine assessment and then release. So from these three, I feel like the energy of today, or the energy of this week, is reliant on the courage to release something so that your wish can be granted. So what's interesting, though, is that this came first. So I get the impression that something good is about to happen, but that it's challenging to us because of our potential lack of simplicity internally that needs to be sorted through. And that judgment influence, that Two of Wands influence, the decision, and then the release of the pattern that inhibits us, that would be how you would be able to receive that wish. So I see it as follows. Something good occurs. It challenges us to have to be courageous and release something, painful that we have relied on for a really long time. So the release, the line in the sand, is about ending a wounding pattern, or a way in which we tend to hurt ourselves because we think we have to, or we think we're doing the right thing. There's a bit of this sort of, martyrdom aspect in this card, which no longer needs to take place. The Magician and then the Queen of Swords. Okay, so this resolves. This is a resolution. This is a release based on finally getting something that you want that might not have come in the best of ways. The thing that you want may not look the way you expected it to look, and it may not be complete in the way you thought it would be. But with a little courage and the willingness to release something, to release a way of thinking, a way of believing that is actually keeping you stuck, you create the opening for the freedom. You create the movement forward. That Queen of Swords energy is direct. There's no mincing of words here. There's no conflict. That's the thing. Even with the Ten of Swords here, the end of that process brings the lack of conflict internally. And that's why I think the video this morning was so impactful to me. I could feel that was the goal. No matter what you might think the goal is, externally, internally, it's about resolving your own inner conflict. Resolving the part of you that can't get past something. The Queen of Swords gives you that strength and clarity to do so. The Magician gives you the inner wisdom and insight and ability to know what skill to employ to resolve this. And usually this represents an emotional, even though it's a swords card, a mental, emotional, internal pattern that creates conflict and pain. The Well. The Well is one of the non-traditional cards in this deck. There's a depth implied, obviously, to the Well. There's also creativity implied and a mysticism. But the experience I have with the Well is that it asks you to dive deeper into a reality, or into a choice, or into a belief that you may need to learn how to see from a different vantage point. Something from the past. Okay. So 6 of Cups and the Moon, for me, tell me that this is either a relationship from the past, a person from the past that never became a relationship, potentially, or a pattern from the past. So it's a belief, a emotional pattern, something like that has been around for a very long time. And the Moon tells me that we've the collective that's resonating with this anyway, never really seen what it really was about. So with the Well, the Six of Cups, and the Moon, there's intuitive guidance there coming for you. There's also this potential for you learning a new piece of the puzzle that you might not have been paying attention to. So there's some part of you that may very well become more aware of where this Ten of Swords process actually began and what it actually was at its inception, as opposed to what you might have thought it was up until now. So with the Moon, there's this sort of, attempt to find clarity through something that's very confusing. All right. So being that Venus is in retrograde, the attempt to find clarity might be kind of pointless up until the moment where you actually receive the intuitive awareness that you're looking for here. So I would say go with the flow if you can. The Well tells me that if you're willing to kind of go in and excavate your own feelings and take responsibility for them, that you might actually fare better through the next month than others will, because resistance of the themes that come up during this type of retrograde can often be fruitless. It's kind of silly to resist something that's trying to help you, even though it's uncomfortable. Yeah. So considering that Venus is in retrograde and that we all pretty much know that's going to bring stuff up, if you ascribe to that belief system, because, there are people that I know who live outside of all of these systems, and it's wonderful. You can choose to do that too, if that suits you better. But if you are following along and this is helping, the Tower only brings down false structures, things that are not solid. So whatever gets lost needs to go, especially if it's a belief pattern that's not actually true, or an underpinning idea about yourself that is keeping you from feeling at peace. The Knight of Swords tells me that you're the one who brings it down. So this is the card of getting something so dear to our hearts that we are immediately thrust into the reality of, do I have the strength to see this through? Can I do this? Two of Wands. Do I have the courage for this? And then the release of the negative self pattern, negative self concept, with Judgment and the Ten of Swords that has caused pain the whole time. The Magician and Queen of Swords come in to point the way, which will start from within. The process will then lead to resolving something through a piece of information that your intuition may give you, resolving something from the past in that way. And then the Tower and the Knight of Swords, it's time to bring the false structure down. It's time to be the initiating force in my own life. What do I no longer want to participate in? What am I relying on that's on shaky ground? And how can I reset my course? And victory, Six of Wands. I'm going to leave it on this card because I honestly think that this may be the best possible ending to this story that I couldn't have chosen it better. Bring down the false structures, and the feeling isn't of, there's no Five of Cups here. There's no grief energy here. The false structure that comes down with the Tower is something that makes you feel directed and certain even, and victorious. So this is a powerful feeling here. This is I am able to pull myself away from those things that are not aligned with me. And that makes me feel better, wonderfully better. All right. This is pretty good. So if anybody does resonate with this and this kind of starts to become reflected in your experience, please share if you're into leaving comments, And if not, I hope you have a really good week. And hopefully I can be back on the weekend for a reading. If not, I will see you as soon as possible. Have a good day. Bye.